Oh, hello there. Welcome to the Model Frontier. Today we're taking a look at some extras that you might pick up from China 3D. For your Agora models, build the RMS Titanic. So as always, if you're new to the channel, make sure to smash that subscribe button, ring that notification bell, that way you don't miss a second of any of my great content. So, way back in the beginning of this build, we took a look at some of the various upgrade options that you might consider for your, for this model. And while I did focus heavily on the KA set, I also made mention of the group China 3D. Now, what is China 3D, if you don't remember? As I mentioned before, China 3D is a Facebook-only group dedicated to providing the highest quality upgrades to make a Titanic model really shine and sparkle. Now, they predominantly started out providing upgrades to the trumpeter set, and that's still predominantly what they are designed for. They also do sets for the 1-350 set, and they've even gone into the 1-700 kit of the Titanic. However, as we've seen on this channel, much of what they offer to us will work with our model too. So what exactly does China 3D bring to the table? The big things it brings are high level of detail, customizability, and ease of use. Now we're going to take a closer look at some of the parts that I've been given by Gene Davis, who helps run the Facebook group for China 3D, as well as the folks over at China 3D themselves. I'm going to go ahead and show you guys some of the stuff that they've sent me so that you can maybe get into this part of doing this great model. So here they are, our two boxes that we got from Gene over at China 3D, and we're going to open them up and see what's inside. And keep in mind, this may not be fully indicative as to what you'll get when you order from China 3D, but you will get the same. You might just get it with a different resin and not the same exact color of resin. We'll start with the big box, and we'll open that up first. I don't want to cut too deep because I don't know what's in this. Look at what we got, and what do we got in here? Let's see. We got lots of packing material, obviously, because, these want to be kept in good shape. Okay, so this box contains two boxes. I'm going to go with this unlabeled one first. And wow, look at all the stuff we got in here. So we got, looks like all kinds of pipes and vents and deck bits, and got all these things. We've got, the first class staircase cover. You've got another one for the rear. We got ship whistles, which I'll show you what those go to in a second. We got the sea deck bulkhead, which will come in real handy. Or is this the sea deck bulkhead? We got two bulkheads. I don't know which one's which. I think this one's actually B deck, and we have C deck as well. And we got a couple of lifeboats with the chocks on them, so that's always good to have. That's it for, is that it for this particular box? Oh, we got some 1/350 photo etch, because this group doesn't just do the 1/200 scale stuff, they do 1/350 scale stuff as well. And that's it. Now keep in mind, as I've mentioned, this is how your stuff will be packed. So they pack it in the foam cut to the size of your specific order. So that's one of the great things about China 3D is this stuff is packed to last and be safe in shipping. So you don't have to worry about the pieces breaking on you. This box clearly says what's on it, so let's take it out of here. Alright, so in this box we got, oh yeah, this is another thing he does. Here, I'm going to show you this. This is something that's really exciting. Even though we won't be able to go into the cargo hold, they do have the little car for the ship. The infamous Renault car that goes into the ship, they make this if you want it. And we got some more lifeboats. Again, these boats all have the chocks on them already. So it's a nice little addition, and they're very solid. And they have all the nice little detailing in them. So yeah, you could definitely use these boats on your build. We got winches, which unlike the KA set, these are all one solid piece. So you don't have to worry about piecing them together and pieces pinging off. Well, we got, these are your bollards and your, I'm not sure what all these are, to be frank. I'm not a nautical guy, but you got all those parts. Again, one solid piece of resin. So good quality there. We've got our crane arms. Now this black resin with the crane arms is what you're going to get when you order now from China 3D. It's a black resin. It's a little more flexible, so it prevents breakages. I'm going to go more into depth on these cranes in a future episode when we actually get to putting the cranes on. So just keep an eye open for that, and we'll go into detail on that later. Now we have the masts, the crow's nest and the rear mast both on here. And one of the great things about these kits is that, about these people, is they put all the details that you would be putting from the KA set right into this. So you won't have to mess with little tiny details to put in. And they're all high quality detailed, all resin, so they're nice and sturdy. Once you paint these up, you'll never be able to tell the difference. We got some lifeboat davits, which again I've already shown you these in another video. But now for the big reveal here, and it's the 4 funnels of the Titanic. I'm going to take one of them out here, the famous first funnel. As you can see, all the detail work right in there. You've got all the piping, all the fine little You know, all the fine little striations and rivet work, all the pipe work's in there. And it's the same for every single funnel. So there's number 2. Here's number 3. Again, with all the pipe work in place, these are nice and very, very sturdy. Now they're not fully done. You can see they don't have the ladders or anything in them, but they're one solid piece. You know, one fully solid piece that you don't have to worry about. And of course, we got our 4th funnel, which they already put the whole topper on and everything. So, again, one solid piece here. I'm not sure if these have the tops to them somewhere, but yeah, these are beautiful. There is an exterior and an interior lattice work to keep them safe. You can see they've all got their whistles on them. We're going to take a closer look at these because I have a lot to say about them. There's some good stuff and bad stuff depending on how you want to look at it for this particular model. So I'm going to put these away for now, but we are going to take a closer look at these in just a moment. So with that box done and out of the way here, as if that box didn't have enough in it to make you salivate, we still got a whole other box here. Let's see what else let's see what else China 3D can give you for your Titanic model. We got photo etch signage for the different things on your ship. These are those warning boards saying that they have triple blade propellers. They come in both the red and the black because there is conjecture as to which version there was. So this is a case of your preference, your model, your choice. We got doors, all the doors you'll need if you want to put the nicely detailed doors on your model. And again, they're fully resin, so they're nice and sturdy. They have the high detail that you get in the photo etch, and there's not really much else to say about the doors, really. You just get good quality detail, so you can do photo etch or you can do the doors. If you break a photo etch or you lose one, this is definitely a definite replacement you can do. Now this next one is one I'm really excited about because as you've seen, we had our benches and they were kind of a pain to put together and stay together. China 3D solved that too. We have highly detailed benches here and they're all one solid resin piece. So we've got that we can use instead of the KA set, which is 3 very fiddly pieces to put on. We've also got deck chairs, folded deck chairs, so you can put those all over your deck. And they also can provide unfolded deck chairs for your deck. So these are definitely something that I would highly recommend getting because let's face it, that KA set is just a pain in the backside to work with. Next, we got some crane bases, which you will need when you do your cranes. These are all the bases you will need for your set. So, yeah, again, more detail, highly recommended. Now, this next bit is a new bit that they just released. So, this is a very exciting thing. This is the docking bridge for the back of the Titanic. We haven't gotten to this point yet in the model, but one of the things they did really well with this is they've included troughs to where you can run lighting through it if you wish, and it'll help keep the lighting inside the piece. So that's an ingenious idea. The next thing we got two of these cranes that go on the very front of the ship. If you look at foot wreckage stuff, this is the one that's facing outwards right now. Again, a piece we haven't gotten to yet, but you can get one already done from China 3D. We got our crane arms, which will go with the bases. So obviously, you can see you need 3 different pieces for the cranes. But you can get all that from China 3D if you want. Other stuff you can get is you can get these amazing prints with all sorts of details. Like on this sheet, you can see you've got stuff for the grand staircase. There's the private promenades. Lots of interior detail work. Different flooring, including where to put it. And it's all high quality paper. You know, this is all like very nice, thick quality paper. They even have transparent windows, so if you lose any of yours or you need to find any, you know, this is a great option for you. One final thing that they do, because yes, they do quite a lot, is on top of China 3D, there's a thing that they do called props and drops. And what are those? Well, it's exactly what it sounds like, folks. Completely accurate brass propellers. And anchor pieces. And with the propellers, you can, of course, you get your 2 wing propellers, and you can always, of course, go for either the 3-blade or the 4-bladed central propeller, whichever one you want to go for. Obviously, with these, you are going to have some stuff you're going to have to get off of here. I mean, like this here has a little bit of the burr from the casting process, but you're not going to find better detail anywhere. So this is a lot of stuff that I got sent from Gene over at China 3D. So thank you so much for all this, Gene. I'm going to pack this all back up, take it downstairs, and we're going to take a closer look at a lot of this. So as an example, let's take a look back at our forecastle, or forecastle, because I've been corrected by many people that I've been saying it wrong for a while now. Well, fine. Let's take a look at the forecastle again. Now, I know we haven't seen this in quite a long time. Still looks just as good as ever. But what I really want you to take a point to look at is right here, these particular valves in front of the cargo hatch here. And I'll bring that up as best I can. It's going to be really hard to show it to you because, you know, I can only do so much, but these were made of photo etch and brass posts. Now, each one of these is 3 separate parts from the KA set. 3 parts to make one of these. And you do them 4 times here, and you have to do them 4 times in the back. Now, when you're working with parts this small, look how tiny those are. Think about it. You have the base, you have the valve itself, and the shaft of it. You have to put that all together on your own. And it is very, very time consuming, very tough to do, and very frustrating from time to time. Now, if you get this set from China 3D, you can see they give you all these valves. They're kind of spread out all over the place, but they give you all the valves you'll need and a couple of extras. And they are just as highly detailed, all in one solid piece. I don't know if you'll be able to see through this or not, but yeah, right there, you can see that is all one solid piece that you can just cut off and take off of the sprue and put it right on your ship. You know, that is definitely a case where ease of use and detail come together in one part. So as you can see here, by just a small sampling of the stuff I got, you know, from Gene, there's really a ton of things that you could use. For example, the B-deck bulkhead that we put on, well, there's a higher detailed version of it right there that you could use in your build. If you didn't get the KA set and you wanted to use their bollards and their capstans, I probably mispointed those out, but you got them all right here. We've got cranes, which we haven't even started on yet, but this will come in handy in the next pack, so be on the lookout for that. These are gonna be something to really take a closer look at. We've got tops for the grand staircase, which granted ours is a little different, but with a little modification you could definitely do stuff with that. You have the lifeboat davits, which I've already shown you on my ship. Don't feel like messing with photo etch doors? They've got an entire set for all the doors you'll ever need for this set. Don't want to assemble the winches? There's the winches, all pre-assembled in one solid piece. Tired of mucking around with all the benches? This is a new thing they just recently came out with. There they are, all the benches. And the bench detail is the same as you would get from the KA set. It's just one solid piece, as opposed to 3 or 4 separate photo etch parts that you have to bend and change around. So definitely, I could go on all day about this. I got so many parts that they have. I just don't want to turn this into an infomercial, so this is just a random sampling of some of the parts that you can get. But keep in mind, this is not exhaustive. There's a ton more. The best thing about China 3D is they're always evolving. This was not available around a year ago. This was not out there yet. This just came out recently. Another part that they just recently came out with, this right here, is the docking bridge that's going to go on the stern of the ship with troughs for lighting to go into and get covered up by the part. So they are very forward thinking at China 3D. And they're always looking to come out with new ideas, and they're always coming out with new things. And they're always trying to make everyone's life easier. Now, I already know what you're asking. You've got to be asking yourselves, will all of China 3D's parts work on this model, the Agora Hachette Titanic model? To that, I'm going to say, straight off of the sprue, it's not 100% compatible. Most of these parts, like these littler parts here, these will work with no modifications necessary, with no problems. And since they're also almost always a single piece, there may be some cases like, you may have some cases like on this sprue where you got these vents, you may have to grab a part from the KA set to put a photo etch part to put in there, but for the most part, these are all one solid piece. And since they are one solid piece, that alone, I think, makes these parts worth the price. Now, that's all well and good for some of the smaller parts, but what about some of these bigger pieces? Well, you've already seen in the video how the China 3D bridge set will fit on this model, and it works amazingly well. Now, the wheelhouse they give you also works, but it does come with a pretty big caveat. And it's that, unlike the stock model, the roof of this is not removable. You can see here that the wheelhouse walls are permanently attached to the roof along with the supports. However, I do have a workaround for you, so you can both have, so you can, have your cake and eat it too. And it's really simple. You just basically make your wheelhouse the way you want it, looking really good inside and out. Put all your little details in. And then just put the wheelhouse onto the bridge where it goes. Like that. Then when you want it to, when you're just displaying it like this, you don't have anything to worry about. No one can tell that's not glued down. And if you have someone that wants to look in and check it out, well, you can lift it up, let them look inside, show off the inner detailing, and then put it right back on, with no one being any the wiser. Moving on from the bridge, we're going to talk about the other big part of this ship, one of its iconic features, the funnels. Now, I'll admit, I've looked and drooled over the China 3D funnels for quite a while. I mean, just take a look at this. Look at all the detail that this funnel has in it. You can see individual rivets that aren't on the original funnel. All the pipe work is on here, and it's the correct pipe work. And even the piping has those little rivets where it would attach right to the deck, so it looks like it's bolted down into the deck. So they just offer so much more details than the basically, I hate to say it, but cut and paste stock funnels that, the stock kit gives you. And best part, all of this, so the piping, all this piping, the whistle, this is all one solid piece of resin. One solid piece, as opposed to how you have to wrap this, and you got the screws showing, and you got to put all these pipes and parts in place. This is just one solid piece. This is how it comes out. This is how it comes off the sprue. One solid piece, which is a big deal with China 3D. Yes, there are some of the finer details you have to still add to it, like the platform and the ladder here, which you can definitely do with your KA set. But it's still amazing. But the problem comes with the smoke generators. For the longest time, the folks over at China 3D have been saying that these funnels are not compatible with the smoke generators the way that they're doing them with the Agora model. So we've basically been stuck for a long time with the choice of form versus function. If you wanted your funnels to have the smoking effect, you'd have to stick with the stock slightly incorrect funnels. Lesser detailed, I guess. They're not incorrect. I would say they're just lesser detailed. Or if you want them to look good and you were willing to forego the funnel, the smoking effect, you could definitely go with the China 3D parts. But what would you do if I told you you could have both? You really could have it both ways. Well, worry not, for I'm about to show you something that's going to blow your mind away. Behold, folks, it is the official Agora, Hachette, whatever you want to call it, smoke generator fitting perfectly inside the China 3D funnel. Yep, you're seeing it right. You actually can get the smoke generators into these funnels. And surprisingly, the process for this, not as complicated as you'd think. Let me go over with you how you would do this so you can decide if this is something you want to do with your build. Now, when you get these funnels, they have a piece already in there that basically creates that little ridge, that inner part. I don't know what this is technically called, but it basically sits in there like this, and it'll end up looking like that when it's all said and done. So after you've removed the funnels from its supports, which is pretty easy to do as long as you're cutting it very carefully along the bottom with a super hot blade. Or Gene recommends you use a sonic scalpel. The only one I was able to find was sold out. Still, I'll give you a link in the description below if you want to try to find it. And if you take your time, it is very slow going to get this off the supports. But you'll easily get them off the sprues. Once you get these removed and the supports on the inside come out cleanly, then what you need to do is taking your blade, again, a hot blade. I don't know if you're going to be able to see this easily, but you will go with your hot blade, you will go in from the bottom and very carefully cut away. Like if this were my blade, I'd be going in here and very carefully cutting away all the supports that hold this piece in place. It's like they're basically held in with little circles, and you're just going to go one circle at a time. I'm not going to lie, it is tedious. It is time consuming. You're often only going to get one or two circles before you have to reheat your blade. So it does take a long time to do, but once you get it done, this part will just pop right out cleanly. You can smooth it out a little bit if you want to, but you don't really have to. And then you're done modifying the funnel. But that's not all you have to do. You also have to do some modifications to the smoke generator. Because I'm using this from the fourth funnel, but they're all pretty much the same. But you can see here, if we try to put this in right now, it won't fit. Because this rim, the rim that is on the outer part of this, it's too wide to fit into the funnel here. So what you basically have to do is you need to take your smoke generator and you basically got to file this rim down almost to the point where it's flush with the rest of the generator. Don't worry about getting it all guffed up on here because, again, you're not going to see any of this when you get it in there. But you practically have to sand this down to the point where it's well, you can see to the point where there's almost no lip on that. Plus, you're going to have to also shorten the top of this a little bit. It's a little shorter now. So because these funnels have a little lip, which you can see right here. And these are for the top parts, which would go across. There's those 3 supports that would go across on this. You need to make sure that the top of this generator fits under. Basically, you want the top of the generator to fit right in this part, right under the lip. But again, once you do all that modification, when done right, now it's no longer form over function. Now we can finally have the funnel fitting correctly. Now, one key thing is, though, you will have to glue these down to the deck because obviously they don't have screws in place to do that. But I think you'll agree that if you have the patience and you have the wherewithal to do that, the end results are nothing short of amazing. Now, before we move away from the funnels, I do want to say this. I've been in touch with the folks over at China 3D throughout this whole process of changing these out. There seems to be excitement that since now I've proven that this can work, they may be looking to offer a solution that's going to allow the China 3D funnels to work with these smoke generators from this kit. I can't guarantee anything, though, so for now, to get these parts to work, you will have to do a little legwork yourself. But with this hurdle passed, I feel confident in saying that so far, 100% of the China 3D parts can be made to work with our model. So here I'm actually going to show ease of use with the China 3D. And no, I can't think of any better thing that they do best making the stuff easy to use than what I'm about to show you here. Now, even though we haven't gotten to this part on the model yet, this is obviously the front mast that holds the crow's nest. Now, I'm going to put the KA instructions up on the screen real quick here for this. And I want you to just see the sheer level that you have to go through to get parts onto this thing. You have to assemble the base. You have to put it into the base. You have to assemble all the individual, the bells, the little lights, the crow's nest you have to assemble all from scratch. And you have to work with these little tiny parts to put stuff on. It's a nightmare. And even if you do all that, this mast alone is still 4 separate pieces. 4 pieces that you have to paint, glue, and hold together perfectly like that. 4 separate parts. Well, with China 3D, that's it. That's all of it. I'm going to actually assemble this right now for you. Watch me assemble this right on camera for you. So we got the base piece here. We got the other part of our mast. So the masts are both each 2 pieces. And all we're going to do is we're going to put some of our glue, some glue into the hole there. I'm going to orient this the right way. And we're going to glue it into place. Give that a second to hold. Then we're going to take our crow's nest. And we're going to put our glue right in the curve here. And along these edges here. And then you can see with the door with the two handles, we're just going to put this right in there. And it'll slip into place. You'll know you got it in place there. And there you go. Now, if this were all painted and had all the little, a few of the bells and stuff you have to put on yourself, but if this were all painted up and done right, done correctly, crow's nest mast is done. And you can see here, if I put this one back together for you here real quick. First of all, let's get the door facing. You can see right away that the hole for the door matches where it meets up with that. You can see they're the same size. So this piece, look how I just assembled that in how quick. And again, if this were painted, I'd practically be done by now with the crow's nest, ready to put on the ship. Whereas how long, again, look at the KA instructions, how long would it take to do that for this thing? So when I say China 3D gives you ease of use, I mean it. China 3D makes this as easy as it can possibly get. Now, also within the China 3D group, Gene himself does a little thing called props and drops, and it's pretty much exactly what it sounds like. Anchors and propellers made of full metal. These are actually cast in one-piece bronze, and they are really good. I'm going to show you compared to the KA kit that I've done. And you can see all the little details from the KA set are on these propellers. These are just a lot more heavier, and these are more metal. Now, if you got the KA set, you might just stick with this, but you can definitely use these. I'm going to have to test how well paint sticks to them, but I would assume you would just paint these like any other photo etch. You would just coat it with a primer to make sure you get the fine details, like right in here, how these are, it's red right up to the blade of the propeller. I'd probably coat the propeller blades in a kind of, I don't know what the proper term for it is, but a liquid mask, and then use your airbrush to airbrush the part there. One other thing you're going to have to be aware of when you get these is because these are cast, you are going to have some of these hang-offs that you're going to have to file off, sand down, somehow remove from the piece. And that's on all these parts. Like, here's one of the little anchors. This one goes on the back of the ship. You can see you got to kind of take that off there. All these are going to have some kind of part you're going to have to shave off, file down, sand down. So that's something you have to be aware of with these. Again, nothing against the process. It's just it's part of how it goes. That's just the way these things are. They also offer you the 4-blade or 3-blade variety of the funnels, of the propellers, if you want to go with one or the other. Now, Gene tells me that these will not come pre-drilled, so you will have to drill them out yourselves. If they do come drilled, you may have to widen this hole, because unlike this, where you can kind of squeeze this in because it is resiny, it's a little more flexible. This is solid metal, so you will have to drill. You may have to drill that out if you want to use it on this model. That's totally at your discretion, up to you to decide if that's what you want to do with your model. One other thing Gene offers, which I think is a sheer thing of genius, is all this paper is flooring. And he offers this. Now, obviously you can get these for free, but this is on a very high quality cardstock type paper. But again, it tells you exactly what room these all go to. This is for the smoking room, obviously. You've got the grand staircase, which for the front one anyway, they didn't do that with. Along with measurements for if you want to change it up. What else do we got? We've got... Oh, these are going to be good. So this is different walls for the interiors of the ship. So when we do our promenade, for example, the private promenades on B deck, we've got those there. We've got the Cafe Parisien. We've got all kinds of little details. If you want to add details to the gymnasium, there's your walls right there for it. Again, we got all these different veranda, cafe, and palm court. The rug for the grand staircase. The second class smoking room. You know, we got all sorts of these detailed floor tiles and floor things and carpets. And yes, you see that, right? As I'm moving away from the paper, Gene and the folks at China 3D also offer transparencies. So all those windows that I've been doing with the KA set, if I screwed something up, I could get some of them anyway, or most of them, replaced with what looks like even better quality details. Kind of makes me wish I could go back and redo them, but you can get that too. And they also provide plenty of spare transparency. I mean, you can see all of this right here, which you could use to do the blank windows, the plain open windows. So this is another thing that Gene and the folks at China 3D also offer for an extra price. So they also offer a decal set, which we've taken a look at in the past. Again, that set is not always available. That is a special thing. That's not something they can make to order. So you kind of gotta just wait till they have it in stock. But if they do, you know, it's the set that comes with the yellow stripes, so you won't have to worry about painting that on. You can just use it as a decal. So definitely extra stuff to check out. So as I've mentioned, everything is printed to order, and they do their best to ship it to you in the best way possible to prevent the risk of it breaking. But what happens if a piece does come broken? Or hell, what happens if you're working on your model and a piece goes flying off? I can't tell you how many times I've been doing stuff to my model after putting the davits on, which I highly recommend you don't do when the instructions say to, and the arms to the davits that are already swung out for the cutter boats have snapped off a couple of times, and luckily I've managed to find them, but they could easily get lost. So what happens then? Are you just out that money? Do you have to resort to using the not so detailed stock set? Absolutely not. Because everything is printed to order, as long as you can show a PayPal receipt for your broken part, which would be very easy to do, if you contact Gene and you maintain your professionalism, he'll work hard to get you a replacement for little to no cost to you. I guarantee you'd be hard-pressed to find better customer service anywhere in the world. And as I've said, every order is printed to order, which does mean you're going to have to be a little patient when it comes to these parts. This isn't Amazon after all. You're not going to place an order and automatically get a tracking number in a couple minutes. Depending on the size of your order, it can possibly take a couple of weeks to get your stuff. Gene and the folks at China 3D honestly do work as fast as possible, and they are working on things to cut down on turnaround time. But the fact remains, there's no warehouse of these parts just lying around waiting for the orders to come in. There's no stockpile so that when an order comes in, Gene or somebody can go to a shelf and pick it off and send it on its way. After an order is placed, it's got to get made and shipped to you directly from China. So obviously, there is going to be a bit of a time delay till you get your part, depending on the size of your order. So basically, with this type of an upgrade option, patience is going to be a virtue. So what are my final thoughts on this? Well, I'm blown away. I mean, it seems like there's nothing that they don't have. And it seems like if they don't have it, they're going to start working on it. And they might even start working on stuff designed specifically for this model. Because remember, the stuff they give you is not designed for our model. It's designed for the trumpeter set. But as you've seen on me do on many occasions here, it will work for our model. So I definitely recommend you give them a check out. Again, links in the description below. Definitely go give them a look. The prices are right. The fact that you can pick and choose what you want gives you a great level of customizability, a great level of freedom. And you know what? Because of how this Partworks model is, you might save a couple bucks up. I mean, you might spend a little more in the long run, but it's going to be less money out of your pocket right now just to get the parts that you need for the certain stages that we're on. That's it for this video, though. I thank you so much for watching. I hope you found it. I hope you go check out China 3D. Next pack for this and the Enterprise are both coming up soon, and they're going to be coming right here next time on the Model Frontier.